My name is LaShae De Lana from Inspired Living Network, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew. He is an amazing host. Make sure you stay tuned and watch his
You're
show.
watching KeithAndrewNetWork. Today, it's episode 784. I'm here with professional TV creator and CEO LaShae De Lana. Make sure to like and subscribe to KeithAndrewNetwork.com, and let's jump right in. Hey, so the very first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
Okay, my name is LaShae De Lana. Hi, everybody. A little background on myself. I am a network CEO and producer. I have my own TV network, which is Inspired Living Network. And currently we have 4 running shows on there. Our 4th show will be premiered actually this Friday coming up. And I came about doing this. It was always a passion of mine since I was a little girl to do something in TV, but really haven't, didn't know the route that I wanted to go until life circumstances happened where it pushed me to do or create one show with single mothers, and then from there it became show after show, and then that's how I got my network.
No, first off, congratulations on being a mother.
Thank
Mazel
you.
tov.
Thank
And,
you.
and if you're interested, we can talk about it now or off the air. I would love to be part of your network. And if you're interested, I would love to have you part of my network as well.
We can definitely discuss some of those requests. With you doing your show, I know you're super busy, and with me running a whole network, it's like I get a lot of those questions. Can I be on your network? So we can discuss them and see if it fits my schedule as of right now. But we can discuss that much later on. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And for an example, a lot of people are like, Keith, what is it? Sorry, I just messing with the headset. I'm my brother doesn't want to listen to my conversation. So he's like, Keith, shut up and get a headset. So I'm minimizing the noise. Pretty much he doesn't want to listen to me talk, even though he listens to me talk nonstop anyway. That's why I'm trying to get used to wearing
Well,
these
that's why you have your own talk show, because you love to talk.
No, absolutely. And that's why I'm wearing the headset. So I know, he was telling me to get a headset. It looks much better, professional. Anyway. But the other thing is, people are like, what do you want from your talk show? What is it that you want to be? Well, obviously, I want to become famous, number one. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron. But then they're like, what is it about your network? And for people out there, can go to youtube.com, subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network, and there's everything from season 1 to season 8. That's what we're up to. I have my brand new challenges. I'm a big fan of Dumbo and Jumble Book. So I have the Dumbo Challenge, the Jumble Book Challenge. I have the Human Pyramid Challenge. I have brand ambassadors. I have my auditions on there. I'm thinking, okay, that's great. But if I want my network to stand out more, what can I do different? Recently, I asked my friends. So now we have only on the Keith Andrew Network, the best. Do you like professional wrestling, by the way?
You know what? When I was younger, I was into wrestling. Not so much now. I really don't watch a lot of TV because I'm working so much, which is kind of weird being in the industry that I am in. But I would say as of right now, I'm not really a wrestler fan, but I do know a few names
Okay, maybe you know
in the wrestling industry.
Yeah, well, maybe you know these names. I'm good friends with Raven, so I made him a playlist, and that's something. If you're interested, I can make you a playlist too. So I'm like, okay, let's amp it up. Let's make it different. So I made a whole bunch of people different playlists. So now we have the best of Raven, the best of Chris Harris, the best of Duke to Dumpster Drosies. Just doing like little things like that. I'm like, okay, now we cover wrestling. And there's other things too. Like I know one guy is a comedian. So I'm now doing comedian work. So I'm trying to, like the WWE Network has thousands and thousands of hours of different content. And I was thinking, you know what? If my network is going to be a network, then I should have thousands of hours of different contexts, not just for me, but other walks of life too. And so I'm looking for people, like you said, you always get requests to be part of your network. I'm always looking for the best for my network and expanding it and saying, I have DX Zone. I also have Life of a Fighter. All these people, of course, I interviewed and I know them, but I'm saying let's make my network bigger, but at the same time, it gets you out there at the same time. I hate saying it, but kills two birds with one stone.
One stone. So what is your question again? I'm sorry.
Okay, so I was going to turn it over to you. So what is your network about? Like, what do you primary air on your network, and what type of contact do you want to have on your network?
So the type of content I have on my network, it's more to just be an inspiration to people. So for instance, with even yourself and the obstacles that you have in your personal life and whatever, whether it's a disability or whatnot, that's a thing that stands out, and that's a thing that can be very relatable to others, right? So on my network, which is Inspired Living with Network, no matter who's on the network, whether you're an actress, you're a TV host, or you're behind the scenes in production, I want people to know that they were inspired dealing with me, and I'm bringing those gifts out of the talent. So I'm bringing out and I'm praying with people and I'm helping them find their purpose when it comes to the arts, right? So when it comes to my network, anyone that we come across, I want to make sure that they left inspired, whether they interviewed with us, whether they worked on set with us, whether they, like I said, behind the scenes in post-production or pre-production, anything that has to do with Inspired Living Network, I want them to leave inspired, saying that, you know what, I worked with CEO LaShae De Lana, and she just put something in me. She pushed me to reach the unreachable. She, made me feel like I can accomplish anything. And that's what I want my network to be. A network. And then also for the underdog, people who don't typically get a chance because of how they look or what issues they may have. Like, I want people to be like, you know what, but there's a place for me, and I can go to her network and watch content that inspired me, but also I can get involved because of the talent that I have, So I just want to spread a world of inspiration and love to people who are dealing with our network.
No, absolutely. It sounds like we're in the same boat.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, the next question I want to ask you is, what makes you different from the competition? What are you doing differently? And yeah, I know I talk with my hands. What do you do differently that I should be doing? Like, how's your network different from mine?
I would say the thing that sets me apart is that I strictly think about who I am affecting when it comes to what I'm creating. So, for instance, like this new show that we have called Matters of Black, we have a show where we're promoting and highlighting Black-owned businesses, right? And with Black-owned businesses, you also have the community heroes and activists and things like that. So the thing that sets me apart from other networks is that whatever show or content that we're creating, we're not just doing it just to say that we have all these shows. We really want to hit a certain type of audience. So with Matters of Black, it's information. It's an informational show where, the African American community are watching all of these business owners that they never knew of, right? With the Powder Room show, it was for single mothers. Single mothers don't have their own show. So that's something that we're catering to single mothers. With Truth Corner, it's people who went through things that were devastating, but also pushed them to their purpose. So every show that we create it's for a purpose, and we're thinking strictly on the people that are watching, our audience. So I think that's the thing that sets us apart. We're not just trying to be this multi-billion dollar, multi-million dollar network. We want to make sure that whatever show that we're creating or whatever content that we're releasing out in the media, that it's something that really penetrates someone's heart that's dealing with that particular issue. And I think that's the thing that sets me apart. I'm more personal when it comes to my content. I'm really thinking about who's watching it, and I'm not really basing it on what awards I can win. Now, don't get me wrong, the rewards and whatnot is very rewarding. Like, I was featured in a magazine on Monday, and that was a rewarding reward, right? But that was just for me to let me know that I'm on the right path. But also, it's bigger than just that. I want to make sure that whoever that is on my network or watching any content from my network, they feel like that show was just for them. So I think that's the thing that sets me apart from any network, is that I'm more personal, and I want to relate to the audience, because a lot of people think that celebrities and people who are famous don't deal with real life issues, and that's really not the case.
No, I agree with you 100%. Now, the other question I want to ask is, where are you based?
Right now, we are based in California. Currently, really don't have an office because we do a lot of things on location, but we are in the city of Long Beach, and I'm in the middle or thinking about what our next move is as far as our office. But we are in Long Beach, California.
Oh, nice. Now, the other question I want to ask you is, with everything that you accomplish, do you have any success stories?
I will say my one success story, well, I might have two. My first one is just starting the business. That's a success in itself. A lot of people get intimidated by their dreams and their goals. And for me, I have to get to the place where I kind of set the fear aside and really go for it. So I think therein lies my success, by conquering a fear of judgment, by conquering a fear of my own worth and my own capabilities, by just starting a network and not even knowing really what I'm doing, just learning as I go, right? So I think that's definitely a success for me. But also, being featured in a magazine is very important to me, because I've never imagined myself being, like, if you can Google me, like, you can Google me now. So if you Google me, you can see that I've been on multiple, articles. I just never thought that my name will be Googleable, if that makes sense. So I think that's very rewarding for me, and it just shows me that I still have a long way to go, but it lets me know that I'm on the right track and that my hard work is not in vain. So I would think that would be my success.
Well, the one thing that we want to point out is, if you look somebody up, you always want positive things. So, right. You know what, like you said, it's always great to be Googled, but at the same time, you don't really know what's going to come. But you hope it's, about businesses, right, and everything, but it's kind of like, it was like, well, what is this?
Right, absolutely. You want to make sure that you are Googled in a positive light. Absolutely.
No, I agree. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about disabilities. And then I'm going to pass the show over to you when we come back.
I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Hi, I'm Millie Rose Fair.
Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrew's show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network, The Fallen. It's brought to you by The X Zone, now streaming live on the Keith Andrew Network. Also brought to you by Life of a Fighter. Get up and fight for your life. And that's not really Life of a Fighter about it. Life of a Fighter is about taking care of yourself, taking vitamins, working out, and me and you, we're always fighting because it's our life, and you're fighting to prove to people, look at what you're able to amount to. Also, what I wanted to say is I haven't done my catchphrase in the introduction, so I like to move it to the center of the show. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities, to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them because them out to something. So hashtag break the labels. I used to have that in the beginning, but then I'm like, it's not about me. Because I've been saying this for 700 episodes. Obviously, people say, okay, we know what your message is. You don't have to say it over and over. So I kind of squeeze it in towards the end. But the one thing I do want to talk to you about is, have you, besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities, or are you willing to work? I know it sounds like an oxymoron. Why even ask that question? Have you worked with people with disabilities, and are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
So you will not believe this, but my background, I have my degree in child development, early child development. And I used to work for this company. It was a behavior analysis company, and I worked with children with disabilities. They were ranging from either ADHD or ADD, multiple MS, also Noonan syndrome. It was a lot of disabilities you can think of, behavior issues and all that. So I do have a background of that, and that was my passion. Back in the day, I actually created, years ago, I created this, I wanted to do this theme park for special needs children. And it was gonna be called, if I can remember, it was called the Sandbox. And the Sandbox was an acronym for special abilities not disabled. Meaning that though people, quote unquote, have these disabilities, I like to call them special abilities. And with the clients that I used to have back in the day when I worked for this company, I would push my clients. Like, I feel like we all have disabilities. It's gonna always be something that's hard for everyone, right? So that's how I treated my clients. I didn't treat them with any special disability. I pushed them to their limits, and their parents love me for that. In such where they love me so much, I have like my own little babysitting business on the side. So outside of work, I would babysit my clients for their parents when they wanted to have a date night and whatnot. They entrusted me with their children to go on vacations with them, to have date nights. So I definitely have a background with that. I have a heart for people, just people in general. So I wouldn't mind working with people with special abilities because I've done it before. I've done it for years, actually. I have like 10, 15 years under my belt with that.
No, absolutely. You have to have a passion to do what you want. You never, as I told people, never do anything half-assed.
Right, absolutely.
And as you would agree, I like to say first 10 seconds, but a lot of people say you have the first 15 or first 30. To me, I like you have the first 10 seconds. As soon as someone sees you, they size you up and everything. But you get that first impression. The first impression is a lasting impression. So if, for an example, if you were working a job that you didn't care about and you're doing it half-ass, it's kind of, then they will assume, oh, if you don't care about doing this, then why should we hire you to do that? So like I said, the first impression is always a lasting one. But the question I want to ask you next, what is coming up on the horizon for you? And what is coming up on the horizon, and where are you heading to next?
So the thing that's coming up, like I mentioned earlier, is that we have a new show that we will be premiering on Friday, March the 5th. It's called Matters of Black. So that's a new show that I produced. The thing that's coming up for me or that I see in my future will be that my network is on local TV. So though we're currently on YouTube right now, that's just our beginning stages, right? And as I get the recognition with, being featured in magazines and things like this or being interviewed by yourself, I'm in hope of that it becomes a bigger platform for me to give other people opportunities, job opportunities, but also opportunities to, use their talents and walk in their purpose in the arts. So that's what I'm looking forward to. As of right now, I'm in still in pre-production for Matters of Black. Actually, right before this interview, I was editing one of the shows. So I'm working hard over here trying to make a name for myself.
No, absolutely. That's what I'm doing. It's 24/7. So what I want to do to the day I die. Very passionate about that. Now, passing the show over to you, my last question for you is, how can our listeners get in touch with you and how can you get started?
So your listeners, actually, because I am on your show, they can find me at on Instagram at inspired.living.network. Also on YouTube, our YouTube channel is Inspired Living Network. We also have our website at www.inspiredlivingnetwork.org. And send us a DM if you're interested, if you have any show ideas, even if you want to hook me up with people like yourself as far as networking and whatnot. Networking is the thing to do nowadays, especially in this industry. But you can find us at Inspired Living Network. So that's inspired.living.network on Instagram.
No, absolutely. Now it's the last 4 minutes and counting. I'm going to pass the show over to you. And so what would you like to talk about?
First, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be on your show. Also, I want to give a shout out to my 7-year-old son. He thinks I'm famous, so I got to make sure I shout him out so he can get his little 5 seconds of fame. But lastly, I want to just encourage, I want to encourage others. If you have a dream, don't be fearful to do it, no matter who you are and what people say that you can't do. I would like people to know that they can do it. And if God put it in you and it's burning in you, that means it was meant for you to do it. So please go after that. Also, I want to make sure that you tune into my new show that's coming out this Friday, Matters of Black. It highlights, especially with this Black Lives Matter movement that's going on. In this industry, it seems like more African Americans are getting more opportunities and we're being more loud with our voices when it comes to those things. So just check out the show. I think you guys will actually really like it. But other than that, I'm just excited to be doing what I'm doing. I keep a smile on my face. And I'm just excited to just be here. So thank you so much for having me. And that's it. I think that's it.
Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but my last question I want to ask you, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And what would you say to people out there?
So when you first asked me to be on your show, I did my research first. And then when I did my research and I learned about your disabilities and whatnot, I said, oh, I'm in, because like I said, I that's what I did back in the day. And it gave me an opportunity to really say, wow, like people were evolving, and it was more for me to do it because I wanted to see what kind of person that you were personally. So I was like, you know what? He's bold. He's pretty cool for that, because you didn't know me, and for you to reach out, that takes a lot of guts. That takes a lot of guts, but also it shows the confidence that you have in yourself when it comes to the things that you love to do. So that's the thing that made me really say, you know what, I have to do it, because that was bold of him. And a lot of times people are afraid of rejection, but I didn't think that you would be afraid of, even if I said no, you took a chance and I said, let's do it. You know, it took us a minute to get our schedules together, but that's the thing that really caught my eye, is knowing that the little history about yourself and how bold you were with approaching me to do the show with you. So I was impressed.
No, I appreciate that very much. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Wrapping up our interview segment, it's a real honor privilege to have me as a guest. And for people out there, make sure to read the description. All your information will be there. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to KeithAndrewNetWork. And if you're a fan of professional wrestling, Life of a Fighter, X Zone, stay tuned to the KeithAndrewNetWork Extended Library. And make sure to join the KeithAndrewNetWork Galaxy. This was our episode, and once again, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned.